Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Feeling the vibrations from the prayer all around us, creating a conducive environment for practice, reflecting on the meaning. May we be nourished, may we be protected. Let our learning be brilliant and effective. Let there be no conflicts between us. Peace, peace, peace. So when we come up to do some stretching, and then we can do some time breathing techniques. Just start with the rotation of the neck muscles. Slow the neck muscles, focusing all the muscles in the region. Opposite direction. Moving to the sides and center, it's a stretch to the side. Nice deep inhalation, exhalation, watching the breath. Staying with the breathing. Stretch, exhale, so. Center and move to the sides as you exhale, inhale center. Exhale to the side, inhale. Sleep, inhalation, exhalation. Inhale and up, exhale and down. Watching the breath. Stay with your breathing. Rotate the shoulders clockwise. The opposite direction. Place your palms on the shoulders, elbows together. And going out, exhale, back. Getting in the clockwise direction. Sleep, inhalation, exhalation. Rotating in the opposite direction. Get the whole arm upwards. The opposite direction. Get the elbows clockwise. Loosening the elbow joints, the muscles around the elbows. The opposite direction. The other side components. Opposite direction. Get the response in terms of the ends components. Opposite direction. Takes apart a little bit, hands on the waist, rotating the waist. Some muscles at the waist. Pause. The opposite direction. Legs together slightly, arms on the knees, rotating the knees. Twice. Opposite direction. Slowly come up, get the ankles. Arms. Loosening the ankle joints. So around the ankles in the opposite direction. The other side. Direction. Let's hold on to the right ankle, the left hand. Stretch. Listen on the breath, staying with your breathing. And release. The other side. Hands together in the middle of the chest, hands in and out, breathing. Inhale, right now. Nicely, inhalation. Deep exhalation, slowing down the breath, slow down the body and the mind. Slowing down the body to slow down the breath and the mind. Movement of the hands synchronized with your breath. Inhale, stretch. Exhale, back in. Next time. Hands together in the middle of the chest. Inhale, palms facing upwards. Exhale, hands and relax your shoulders. Deep inhalation, deep exhalation, watching the breath, staying with your breathing. Going up at an angle, 45 degrees. Stretch, exhale, back. Straight up. Change the breath. Stay with the breathing. Last one. Next is ankle stretch breathing. Inhale. Knees off the ground. It's a handstand and the knee stand. One last time. Slowly come down. Sit down. Legs apart. Loosen the ankle joints. Moving the ankles in the opposite direction. Legs together. Shake out both the legs. Half butterfly. Squeezing the muscles along the right leg. The other side, the left leg. Both legs in. Inhale, stretch forward, spine erect and concave. It's deep inhalation, deep exhalation. Inhale, expansion in the stretch. Exhale, relaxation in the stretch. The stretch, especially in the pelvic region, in the middle of the thighs. Check out both the legs. Yes. So we start with the pranayama practice. Sit straight, be comfortable. Or you can sit cross-legged if it's too hard, that's okay. Or Vajrasana, if you're comfortable, or Padmasana, lotus pose. We'll start with the prayer for the pranayama techniques. Pranasya idam vashe sarvam tridiveya pratishtitam mateva putran rakshasva Shrischa pragnam cha vidahina iti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Feeling the vibrations from the prayer around us, creating a conducive environment for practice, reflecting on the meaning of prana, the life force that governs everything that exists in all the three worlds, so on the earth, below the earth, above the earth. Please protect us like a mother protects her child and give us the real wealth and wisdom. Peace, peace, peace. So that's the meaning. It's taken from one of the Upanishads called the Prashnopanishad. So you have the Vedas, and Upanishads are part of the Vedas. So each of the Vedas, the end part of we call as the Aranyakas. We call these things called the Upanishads. And Upanishads are the philosophical treatment of the subject of the Vedas. Right? Upanishads, they don't have any gods. It's all logic, saying, who am I? What am I made of? What is the mind? What is the breath? So, and it's taken from the Prashnopanishad, the prayer itself. But what it means is that everything in this world, the living, non-living things, have life force in them. Right? Even a piece of metal has life force in it, but not as manifested in us. Right? We have more freedom. The animals have lesser freedom, and the plants even lesser. And then you go to lesser and lesser things like metals. So if you heard of Jagdish Chandra Bose, he was a scientist from Calcutta. I mean, he showed that he used to play music to the plants, and he used to show how the plants would grow quicker with music. This was 100 years ago. He was a physicist, so they asked him to shut up and do only physics. The scientific community of the West said, please. And he also showed he would inject chloroform into a piece of metal, and he would send electric waves, and he would show that when you inject chloroform, it responded, the vibrations were lesser frequency. And the metals with no chloroform used to vibrate at a higher frequency in a sense. So he showed the effect of life being in even metals and plants and the higher beings. So there are many experiments done on the plants, right? So they put two plants next to each other, and they try to pick the leaf of the one plant. The other plant actually shudders. They saw vibrations within the plant. So the plant's afraid that you're going to do the same thing to the next plant. So we think all the things around us don't have any life. But even there was a tree in our house. It was a Pajoya tree in our garden. So we didn't even know, when we were new to New Zealand, we said, what is this tree? We should cut it. No, we went by the tree, and the next year we had Pajoya fruits. We didn't have anything for 2 years. So you can see the effect of what we do on, you can see it plants clearly, and Jagdish Chandra Bose actually showed it even on the metals and non-living things. So the same life force pervades everything in this universe. So that's what I was trying to come to. So with the pranayama technique, so what Patanjali says about pranayama is Shwasa Prashwasa Yoho Gati Vicheda Pranayama. So Shwasa is inhalation, the in-breath. Prashwasa is exhalation. Gati is the speed. Vicheda is to slow down the speed of inhalation and exhalation. And that's the goal of pranayama. And then another interpretation, you can say actually stopping the process of inhalation and exhalation. So if you get into higher states of meditation, you don't have to breathe. So very interesting science of yoga that you don't have to, we think we have to breathe to survive, but there are other means of exchange of energy, the energy channels that open the Sushumna Nadi, where you don't have to breathe anymore. And the energy exchange happens with the body as you get into higher states of yoga. Anyway, so that's what Patanjali is saying, is to slow down the pace of inhalation and exhalation. And why do we need to slow down the pace of inhalation and exhalation? Because when you have a lot of thoughts in your mind, or when your body is really exercising fast, our breath rate goes up and leads to a lot of problems, hypertension. You can't run forever, right? Your body just gives up. So we have a certain capacity, and the heart can't beat faster, and the organs will fail if we do. So that's the reason. And in some cases, it's not even intended. Right? When you exercise, it's fine. You want to exercise, you want to increase the pace of how your body works. But most of the times, we have lots of thoughts. Right? And then that indirectly increases the breathing rate, which leads to a lot of health problems. Diabetes, cancer, they're all saying related to our stress. Is when you don't have focus, when you're thinking about a lot of things at the same time, but there's no physical output. So if there is some energy and the energy is bottled up, there's no outlet for that energy, and it acts on a particular part of your body. So if you leave the water tap and kind of hold it in force, and then you leave it, it just bursts out. It's the same thing with our body. We have so much mental energy, we don't do anything about it. So we get angry with each other. But the modern society is we can't show the anger. You have to hold it in. Don't shout, be very nice. But then it has an effect internally on our body. We have to have an outlet. Either we slow down and teach ourselves to be slow. Even when you get angry, can we get angry very slowly? Right? So when you get angry, say, "Oh, I'm gonna hit you." Slow it down completely, and the anger disappears. Unless we know the technique of dealing with it, that energy has to act in a certain manner, and it affects our bodies and minds. And that's why you see a lot of the health problems today. So everybody has back pain. Everybody that I know work, it's back pain, leg pain, mental problems. So this is the reason of the modern lifestyle. So we slow down the breath and bring it down to a level where it's manageable. So bringing that awareness back. So it says, Shvasa Prashvasa Yogo Gati Vicheda Pranayama. Then he says, Desha Kala Sankhyabihi Shvasa Prashvasa Yogo Gati. So changing the speed of inhalation and exhalation as per the place, space, and time is the art of pranayama. So then he talks about the types of what we call as in pranayama. There are three things, right? We inhale and hold the breath briefly, exhale. Then again, breath stops briefly, we inhale again. Right? So inhalation is called prashvasa, like I say, or puraka. And then exhalation is called recha. So in between inhalation and exhalation, there is a brief period when the breath stops, and it's called kumbhaka. So in all of the pranayama techniques, there's emphasis on developing this kumbhaka, your ability to hold the breath. So after inhalation, it's called puraka kumbhaka. After exhalation, the brief period when the breath stops is called rechaka kumbhaka or bahya kumbhaka, because it's external. Or the internal kumbhaka is after inhalation. And then he talks about another kind of kumbhaka called the kevala kumbhaka. Means where the breath stops naturally when you go into meditation. So the breathing stops automatically. And that's the goal of all pranayama, is you're so relaxed. What happens when the breathing stops is we are like a machine. Right? Each of us, they say, have a certain number of breaths in our life. So once we exhaust that number of breaths, just like they give a machine 10-year warranty, we have a warranty for the number of breaths. So that's why when you slow down the breath, your lifespan expands. And so if you see the animals, if you look at human beings, we breathe about 15 to 20 inhalation, exhalation together is one respiration, right? 20 a minute, 18 to 20 a minute. If you look at something like horses or dogs, they have 30 to 40 a minute. That's why they live less. They live only 25 to 30 years. And if you look at elephants, it's very similar to us. So that's why they live about 100 years. And if you look at turtles or tortoise, they live about 300 to 400 years because they breathe about 5 a minute. Then the tuataras, the lizards in New Zealand, or tuataras, tuataras are the tree, tuataras live about 300 to 400 years because they also have a very low breathing rate, 5 a minute. And so we can expand our healthy lifestyle by slowing down our breathing rate. So if you're always calm, don't react to situations, train yourself to keep your mind calm in any situation. You have a longer, healthier lifestyle. It's just not like you're on a respirator just breathing, just slowly breathing, but you have a very healthy lifestyle doing all the normal things that everybody does. So that's the beauty of pranayama. And then Patanjali says the result of pranayama, because the goal of all these techniques is to be able to meditate, right? Sit down and be either thoughtless or think about something and be focused on that single thought. So he says, Dharanasu Kaushalam Mana. That says dharana is concentration. He says the mind becomes skilled at concentration. So you can take a task, you don't have any other thoughts, that's the only thing you're doing. That becomes, the work becomes very efficient. So whereas if you're thinking about 100 things, it takes longer to do something because we're thinking about 100 things. If we weren't thinking about anything else, that same task, which takes an hour, would only take about 20 minutes. So that the efficiency of the work increases, and then main goal is the meditation power increases. So I can see you guys, I can go home and I can close my eyes and reconstruct your image of each one of you, how you look. I just have to close my eyes, and my power of visualization is so wonderful that I can do that. And that's the beauty of these techniques, is it increases your, or if you want to meditate on your God that you like, Buddha or Krishna or Christ or whoever is your favorite God, or Shiva, it's beautiful to have that power of visualization. You close your eyes, you visualize the dark color of Krishna, and his skin is so dark that you can see the blue aura around Krishna and the peacock feather and the yellow dress. You can visualize all that very beautifully when you have that power of visualization. Otherwise, a lot of people, they sit down and they want to think about Krishna. The image doesn't even come. It's very hard for them to construct that image. And how do you meditate? You cannot think about the object of meditation. So that's the goal. So we'll start the practice. So there's 3 kinds of practices. Look, so normal breathing, like I said, is about 15 to 20 a minute. So we increase the breathing rate. They're called cleansing techniques to cleanse the internal organs, about 60 to 100 a minute. So from 20, we take it up, breathing very quickly. And those are called kriyas, or cleansing techniques, like Kapalabhati, Vastrika, all kriyas. And then pranayama is very slow breathing, anything from less than 10, less than 5 a minute is called pranayama. And so we'll start with what we call as Kapalabhati. So you can watch me first. When you breathe normally, inhalation takes some effort, right? आप जब सांस ले रहे हैं तो थोड़ा effort लेता है. You put some effort. आपको कुछ काम करना पड़ता है. Whereas when you exhale, it's kind of natural. अपने आप हो जाता है, श्वास बाहर आता है तो it's very relaxed. So you reverse the process of inhalation and exhalation. We exhale forcibly, then let the inhalation happen by itself. Then exhale forcibly. And that's Kapalabhati. That's reversing the whole process of normal breathing. So we can all do it together. Inhale slowly. So spine erect and concave. Make sure your spine is not bent. Otherwise, you're going to sprain something, injure yourself. Visualize yourself leaning against the trunk of a huge tree, like a kauri tree or a redwood tree. Back completely relaxed. We'll start. Inhale first, then exhale forcibly. Then let the inhalation happen by itself. Let the tummy expand by itself. And slowly increase the pace. Watch the automatic stoppage of your breath. Breath stops automatically. As the breath stops, the mind stops. Thoughts disappear. Let the breathing come back to itself on its own. Do not try to change the breathing pattern. So that's the technique, right? So you can initially just do slowly, and as you get more practice, you can increase the pace. And some of the precautions, so if you have hypertension, please don't do the fast, do it slowly. If you have high blood pressure, hypertension, just do it slow. And for women, please don't do it during the menstrual cycle, and also during the last 3 trimesters of the pregnancy. And then please do it on an empty stomach. So please don't do this after you've eaten something, not advisable. You're going to create gastric problems, other problems, but otherwise the benefits of the technique is it cleanses the lower respiratory tract, stimulates the lower part of the lungs. And so when you breathe normally, there's about 3% of carbon dioxide left in the body. With this, it throws out even the residual carbon dioxide in our blood. And it also oxygenates the brain. So you feel very good here. That's why it's called Kapalabhati. Kapala means forehead. Bhati means shines. That which shines the forehead is called Kapalabhati. So it's very good for memory and concentration, as it increases the blood flow into the head region, and very good for people with depression, right? Mentally depressed people, very good for people with addictions. If you want to drink, smoke, or have lots of cups of coffee, instead of that, you can do Kapalabhati. You get the same kick. But again, make sure you're on an empty stomach. So if you have those addictions, don't do it right after you hand your food. But if you're on an empty stomach, you can say, okay, can I reduce my coffee or my cigarette? Can I do a round of Kapalabhati? So we'll do one more round. Inhale. Breath stops, the mind stops. Watch the automatic cessation of your breathing, the state of Kevala Kumbhaka. Enjoy the calm, serene state of being. Let the breathing come back to itself on its own. Do not try to change the breathing pattern. Next practice we'll do Vastrika. So we use the upper part of the lungs. We use the lower part of the lungs. Now we're going to use the upper part of the lungs. So when I inhale, I take the hands up. When I exhale, I bring the hands down. Inhale, up, exhale, down. And relax, watch the automatic cessation of your breathing. Breath stops, the mind stops, thoughts disappear. The breathing come back to itself on its own. Do not try to change the breathing pattern. Right, so you can see when you take your hand up, it forces you to breathe from the chest. Right? That's why we are taking our hand up. Makes you expand the chest. So either, or you can even do this. It's the same effect as the other one. So Vastrika cleanses the upper respiratory tract. Kapalabhati acts in the lower part of the lungs. So again, very good for all kinds of breathing problems. And then increases lung capacity and stamina, very good for COVID as well, as it increases the amount of oxygen in the blood. Any of the techniques that oxygenates the blood, increase of nitrous oxide in the blood. So even WHO has acknowledged that increase of nitrous oxide in the blood actually kills the virus in the lungs and in the respiratory tract. So we'll do one more round. Inhale. And watch the automatic cessation of the breathing. Breath stops, the mind stops, thoughts disappear. The breathing come back to itself on its own. Don't try to change the breathing. Relax. So Vastrika, you can do it at different speeds. Right? You can do it very slowly. You can do it medium speed. You can do it. We are doing quickly. But Vastrika can be done at different speeds. So people have done a technique called Sudarshana Kriya. You've heard of Art of Living. They teach that Kriya called Sudarshana Kriya, where the Vastrika is just done at different speeds. So anyway, just so that you know, when people say Sudarshana Kriya, it's just Vastrika done different speeds. So next we'll move on to what we call as suctional breathing, stimulating the different parts of the lungs, starting with the tummy. So we adopt Chin Mudra, tip of the forefinger, touching the tip of the thumb, and just gently resting on the thighs. All the other fingers are outstretched. Inhale, expand the belly. Exhale, collapse the belly. Inhale, expand the belly. Exhale, collapse the belly. Inhale, expand the belly. Exhale, collapse the belly. Just watching the breath, staying with the breathing throughout the practice. You can pay attention to the switch between inhalation and exhalation, exhalation and inhalation. Just a brief period when you inhale, breath stops, then you exhale, breath stops, then you inhale. So just using the abdominal muscles, lower part of the lungs. Relax. So when you breathe normally, what happens with everybody? The tummy should go out. A lot of people I've seen, they're taking their tummy in when they breathe. I mean, you are all doing okay now in the class, but I'm seeing, observe when you breathe normally, when you're walking around, your tummy should raise when you breathe. But a lot of us, I'm seeing people have taking the tummy in when they inhale. Right? Because when you want to take the air in, you want to expand the lungs, and the tummy should expand. Right? So watch when you're walking, what you're doing, and correct the breathing pattern. Right? So when you're on your back, that's the natural breathing. You'll see the tummy going. That's how you should be breathing, even when you're walking around or when you're normally sitting or whatever. So next technique, we'll do adopt Chinmaya Mudra. Tip of the forefinger touching the tip of the thumb. All the other fingers folded into the palm of the hands. Press them gently on the thighs. Inhale, expand the chest. Exhale, collapse the chest. Just using the muscles of the chest. Inhale, expand the chest. Exhale, collapse the chest. Inhale, expand the chest. Exhale, collapse the chest. Inhale, expand the chest. Exhale, collapse the chest. You can close your eyes and watch your breath throughout the practice. Inhale, expand the chest. Exhale, collapse the chest. Relax. And as you close your eyes, you can see the muscles of the chest, exaggerated movements of the muscles of the chest. You can see the stimulation of the middle part of the lungs. So next practice, we'll stimulate the upper part of the lungs. Adopt Adi Mudra. So encircle the thumb with the rest of your fingers and lay them gently on the thighs. Inhale, take up the shoulders. Exhale, bring down the shoulders. Inhale. Exhale. Nice deep inhalation, deep exhalation, complete awareness of your breathing. If the mind wanders, just gently bring it back to the breath. Inhale, take up the shoulders. Exhale, gently bring them down. Relax. And as you watch, the shoulders are moving up automatically on its own. Stimulation of the upper part of the lungs. When we breathe normally, we never use the upper part of the lungs. So most of us are just using mostly the middle part of the lungs. So it's good to stimulate different parts of the lungs. So to increase the lung capacity and stamina, very good techniques. We have breathing problems. So we'll do next what we call as full yogic breathing, combining all the three techniques together. So adopt Adi Mudra first, encircle the thumb with the rest of your fingers and lay them gently in between the thumbs. So it's really loose, right? Nothing is tight, the whole body is nice and loose. Inhale, expand the belly, expand the chest, take up the shoulders. Exhale, collapse the shoulders, collapse the chest, collapse the abdominal muscles. Inhale, expand the belly, expand the chest, take up the shoulders. Exhale, collapse the shoulders, collapse the chest, collapse the abdominal muscles. Watching the breath, watching the gap between inhalation and exhalation, exhalation and inhalation. Last time. And relax. Let go of your hands. Watch the breath. Watch all the parts of the lungs beautifully stimulated by the practice. The breathing becoming longer, deeper, and more relaxed. Okay, next we'll move on to what we call as the real pranayama techniques. The pranayama techniques. We'll start with left nostril breathing. So we'll inhale through the left and exhale through the left nostril. Right? So, but the rule is all the pranayama techniques, you should use the full yogic breathing along with awareness of the breath and awareness of the switch between inhalation and exhalation, exhalation and inhalation. Very important point. So full yogic breathing, awareness of the breath, awareness of the switch between inhalation and exhalation. We'll start with the left nostril breathing. Close the right nostril, exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. Full yogic breathing, exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. Exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. Exhale through the left. Watching the breath, staying with the breathing. And relax. So left nostril breathing reduces the metabolism rate, reduces the frequency of the brain waves. Right? So relaxes you when you breathe through the left and stimulates what we call as the Ida Nadi. Right? So we'll do the variation of left nostril breathing called Chandra Vedana. So we inhale through the left, exhale through the right. So close the right, exhale through the left, inhale through the left, exhale through the right, Then close the right. Inhale through the left. Exhale through the right. Inhale through the left. Exhale through the right. Inhale through the left. Exhale through the right. Full yogic breathing. And relax. So same benefits as the left nostril breathing. What I find with the Vedana is if your right nostril is blocked, it also helps you clear the right nostril. So the variation, the next is right nostril breathing, or called Surya Anuloma Viloma. Close the left, exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Full yogic breathing, exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Exhale through the right. And relax. So you wanted to stop at 10, right? Today. Okay. So we'll just do a couple of minutes of meditation, and then we can end the meditation technique. So chant Om internally. Internally. Slowly reduce the pace of the chant, increasing the gap in between the chants. If you get any thoughts, you can increase the pace of the chant, otherwise slow down the pace of the chant. The gaps between the chant becoming longer and longer. Slowly increasing the gap. Gaps becoming longer and longer. Visualize an ocean of silence and the sound of Om floating on that ocean of silence. Merging back into the depths of the ocean of silence. And visualize that ocean of silence stretching from the depths of your heart to the vast, expansive, infinite, clear blue skies. Ocean of silence stretching everywhere. Silence, the source of all creativity, bliss, knowledge, and power. Visualize the sound of Om emerging from the depths of your heart, emerging that vast, expansive, infinite, clear blue skies. So we'll close the session with the prayer for universal well-being. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti. Everyone be happy, let everyone be free of all diseases. Everyone see the truth and let no one suffer on account of me. Oh, peace everywhere, peace in immediate surrounding, peace within. Slowly rub your hands together. Massage your face and slowly blink. Thank you very much.